And joining us today is Andrew and the Wanderer himself.
I'm gonna president the shit out of this.
Hell yeah.
Okay, let's. We all stoked for this, guys?
Fuck oath.
Yeah.
Fucking
Let's
oath.
do it.
Alright, let's begin. You are my enslavement and my freedom. You are my flesh burning like a raw summer night. You are my country.
Ominous silence.
1908, the Kingdom of Sordland. Opened your eyes to this world. Came from?
And this is me, right?
That's correct.
I come from a impoverished family in the city of Deer.
Your parents named you Anton. Actually, they named you Dave. You are President Dave. As the only child of a farmer, you spent your childhood among the wheat fields. Life was not easy. You were too poor to afford a good education. The Rain family was caring regardless of the economically dire situation. Your parents always did their best to support you.
Thanks, Mon Pa.
Years passed. September 9th, 1923. During a history class at school, the bell started to ring unexpectedly. You heard a loud commotion outside. As everyone tried to figure out what was going on, the principal announced the historic revolution. The kingdom was no more. The Republic of Sordland was born.
I was happy I had the day off.
After graduating, you passed the university exam with high marks. Even though your family was poor, the public education system made it possible to go to university. You had the opportunity to choose between several studies. You chose
History at the Deer University of Culture.
local boy, eh? While attending university, you were treated to a lecture by the renowned diplomat David Whiskey. After observing the hall in silence, he explained why realpolitik is important to a successful foreign policy. He argued that a strategy based on practical and material factors would be much more successful in reaching Sordland's ambitions for the future.
I question what I'm being taught.
The coup of 1927. Soldiers entered the campus in the evening ahead of the first election. Many were in shock as the uniformed men created a security cordon and started arresting the teachers. A group of students started gathering in protest. Along with your best friend Peter Vecton, you decided to
Protest with the students.
One of the officers made a loud announcement that echoed through the campus. General Luderin has declared martial law in order to restore the administration. Please stand back and disperse to your rooms. You joined the students that slowly marched towards the large group of soldiers. Suddenly, they charged. A student fell and was trampled as everyone started running away.
I'm holding up that Spartan shield and holding my ground.
The soldiers beat you relentlessly. It was a gloomy year.
It fucking sounds like it was.
1927. The coup split the students into two groups and caused frequent fights. Torture and imprisonment of any opposing voice became a daily routine in Dyer. You didn't want to stay idle and decided to join
The student council.
class president. The council was focused on increasing the student involvement in the campus, along with partaking in the budget. Through active participation, you gained budget management and leadership skills. In one of the meetings, Peter introduced you to one of his friends, Monica.
Sorry, his name's Andy, not Peter.
Fair enough. Peter Andy Vecturn. And President David Anton Rain. In one of the meetings, Andy introduced you to one of his friends, Monica, who was a volunteer for the Swordish League of Women. You were immediately attracted to
Her intelligence, 100%.
a politically charged environment led you to
Ooh, hang on. The Red Youth. Let's go socialists.
Workers of the World. 1928, the radio relayed that the communist General Rickard surrounded Lutheran's forces, demanding their surrender. They refused, and heavy fighting broke out across the country. You couldn't believe it, the army was fighting amongst themselves. Sordland was plunged into chaos. Rickard's sudden attack caused more instability in the country, but compared to the fascist Lutheran, he was a real socialist. This convinced you to participate in a support march. You were chanting,
Freedom, equality, solidarity.
"For all!" You were marching under the protection of Rickard's soldiers. The students opposing the coup gathered a few hundred metres in front of you. Many nationalists were among them. You knew something was going to happen.
I stayed.
There was a massive clash between the two sides. Soldiers began to beat the students. Tanks started rolling forward. In this chaotic moment, you saw a young girl about to get run over by a tank.
We ran to save her, 100%.
But you couldn't reach her in time. Never forgot her face.
Fuck that.
The clashes escalated into a full-blown civil war. The horrors made you isolate yourself for a while. Monica helped you cope, and love between you began to grow. However, it was a difficult time for love. Chaos must end. 1929, the Republic of Sordland. The charismatic colonel, Tarquin Sol, orchestrated a sudden coup that brought an end to the chaos. He wrote a new constitution and restored stability. The people saw him as a saviour. He formed the United Sordland Party and ran as a presidential candidate. In the first ever elections,
I voted.
the USP won the election by a large majority. After graduation, you kept seeing Monica and noticed her interest to marry. However, a letter arrived from the military, calling you to fulfill your compulsory service. It was time to serve your national duty. February 1930, Bergia region. A devastating civil war broke out in the neighbouring country of Wayland. The distinguished Major, Joseph Lancera, ordered you to lead your squad on a border patrol mission. It was a very cold winter night when you began marching out of the Gumrin outpost. You could see your breath. After several hours of marching through the snowy hills, distant noises were heard. Visibility was too low to confirm the source. Squad crawled forward in a formation and found a spot to observe. A group of refugees had made it beyond the border fence. You?
Fuck. I want to let them slip through, but that's gonna fuck me up. Escort them back.
The refugees were in despair when they realised that you were taking them back to the border. Screams and protests ensued as they had to be restrained. You delivered them to the border guards. After several months of military service, your duties ended and you went back to a civilian life.
I regret that decision. wholeheartedly.
Sometimes you gotta follow orders, son. You and Monica decided to share your lives together. After receiving the blessing of her parents, a ceremony was held in the capital of Wholesword. During the same year, you were offered a high-paying party job at the governing United Sordland Party. It was important to start your career on a good foot, so you accepted it. But why?
It was the best opportunity to change the country for the better.
You became the foreign policy assistant to one of the most experienced members of the Assembly. You worked long and hard, staying late at work, reviewing dozens of foreign policy plans. You are climbing the ladder. 1933. Sol strengthened the Republic by removing the institutions and symbols of the former kingdom. Things were also looking up for the country as the massive economic boom continued, and people were the happiest they'd been in a decade. Election time came, and it was decided. Tarquin Sol was elected once more, the second time. April 2nd, 1933. The preparation of the most comprehensive trade agreement with Agnolia was occupying most of your personal time, but your significant contribution to the trade talks triggered an invitation to meet President Tarquin Sol himself, and he offered you a key position. You were to become the youngest member of the Assembly.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll accept it. Oh, I didn't realize it was with the arts. But anyway, go on.
As the youngest MP, it was difficult to connect with the influential inner circle. You needed allies, so you brought Andrew along as your right-hand man. The birth of your son,
Yeah,
Frank,
Andy.
provided a brief moment of joy and relief. You?
Shit. Spend time with the family. It's got a newborn after all.
Sol's third and fourth election wins, 1941. During your absence, Andrew found trustworthy contacts and strengthened your position in the party. At the same time, President Sol increased his authority over the years. His growing ego started to cause strife within the party. The cracks had begun to show. October 1945. Sol's fifth election win. President Sol barely secured his majority in the election against the opposition leader. Over the past year, people were growing discontent with the corruption and worsening quality of life. Meanwhile, calls for a united Sordland Party Congress became louder as a leadership struggle started to brew. You?
We joined the internal opposition for sure.
You gave your support to Edouard Alphonse, a reformist and talented business magnate who was the main contender for party leadership. Meanwhile, in a desperate effort to secure votes before the Congress, President Sol was meeting party members one by one, but he didn't approach you. The party Congress was nothing short of impressive. The banners of United Sordland were decorating every possible spot. Thousands of influential political figures, lobbyists and benefactors gathered for this turning point. The voting for the party's leadership had begun. You?
Alfonso. We voted for Alfonso.
The efforts bore fruit, as the contentious leadership vote was won by Edward Alfonso. During the Congress, Sol announced his retirement for politics. You knew the structure he had established was to stay. The country had become increasingly authoritarian. You?
Happy that Sol was finally leaving.
A month later, your daughter was born. Monica named her Dina. She motivated you during a tumultuous period in the party. The general elections were approaching. The United Sordland Party was under the new leadership of Edward Alfonso. You?
I gotta say, before I continue, the music in this whole section is fucking gorgeous.
I have to agree, it's really well done. I mean, for what really is a text and map game, this, like, it.
Oh yeah, no, you can tell that they put love into it. That's for sure.
Good decision, sir.
We joined the party effort.
During the general elections, the main opposition leader was embroiled in a sex scandal with his secretary. He was replaced by the strong opposition figure Franz Richter. The damage had been done. The extensive privatisation program proposed by Alfonso secured an election victory for the United Sordland Party. Over the next years, you
did our best to make Sordland a better place.
The presidency of Edward Alfonso saw many bold reforms, but was followed by a serious economic recession. The other parties announced their bids for the 1953 election, but the unfair electoral system hampered all opposition efforts to win. You?
Okay, well, I'm worried about the economic recession then, for sure.
Together with Peter, your presence in the USP grew and you became the face of a new wing in the party. You effectively took over the leadership as President Alfonso lost control of the country. The moment to make a move had come. You?
We advised him to step down.
He didn't take your advice seriously and started to reshuffle his cabinet, but most of his inner circle abandoned him. Your diplomatic attitude made the party vote you in as the leader. Following this, you announced that you would be running as president in the general election, with Andrew as your running mate. In January 1953, it was your turn. After visiting every city and town during the campaign, you made a speech. You promised to
enact democratic reform.
The people are tired. Oh wait, this is you, man.
The people are tired of empty promises. We need fundamental change in our institutions and government. A solid and transparent democracy awaits us. Brothers and sisters, a new constitution and a new age is upon us.
The broadcast ended. On election day, millions... What? Did you just say stay Klingon?
Yes.
On election day, millions went out to cast their votes. It was time to face the truth. President Anderson reign. Chapter 1.
Seriously, how nice is that music? The freaking guitar there.
Good day.
Okay, we gotta set some things up. Think you could maybe rock a fedora?
Be right back, one sec.
No worries, mate.
I reckon let's go to Rebellious.
Where was that? Okay. Some facial hair, the comrade, monarchist. Beard maybe? Or clean shaven?
Idealist.
I see. Outfit?
Keep going. Let's go with the maroon one.
See. Accessories? You want a cigar, a pipe?
Pipe for sure.
Yeah. So it is. Okay. Just got background. I like that. What do you reckon?
Yeah, turquoise. I like turquoise.
Turquoise it is. Professional photo shoot on that one. Okay. Mr. President, what's our economic direction? Sordland's economy was originally
Free market.
based on a planned economy.
Free market.
Alfonso has been enacting market reforms, but at the moment we're caught between them. Free market it is.
Oh, yes.
Diplomacy, sir. The intensifying global rivalry between capitalist Arcasia in the west and communist United Contana in the east is opening new diplomatic possibilities. Sordland could take steps to align itself closer to one or retain its independence as a sovereign nation.
Yeah, let's go with neither.
You got it? In recent years, Bludish, Wesak and Agnolian immigrants have flocked to Sordland due to relaxed immigration laws enacted by Alfonso. As a result, tensions between Swords and immigrants have been increasing. But these people are often well educated.
Let's keep the immigration relaxed for now.
Yes, sir. We also need to identify a focus for our term. What should we promise to focus on? Health, education, law enforcement, or the military?
Law and enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Because we're keeping the immigration relaxed and we've got some tensions between the immigrants and the Swords, then I want to tighten up the law and order.
Good stuff. 2 weeks have passed before we won the election. Actually, that's a good point. Maybe we'll just do a quick discussion on that. Because, like, if you actually take efforts to integrate immigrants into your society, like, if you look at a lot of the opposition to immigration, it's actually more that things like, you know, they turn to crime. Like, when you see the criticism, it's only a relatively small group who dislike the cultural, the multiculturalism aspect.
Yeah.
It's more like, when they turn to crime and steal the hubcaps. But, like, if you actually run the society well, if you police adequately, you know, if you do community policing where ethnic communities see the police as, you know, a member of the community and a friend and an ally, as opposed to the enemy, like, then multicultural societies work a lot better. And I mean, it's only when people are really sort of having to compete for their jobs and feeling that their wages are falling that people really start to show a lot of opposition to immigration. And it's not that, like, having, like, nutty radicals come along, like, I have zero sympathy for that, but I'm just saying, what are your thoughts, guys? Would you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I'd agree.
Mr. President, your thoughts?
Apart from hubcap thievery.
Yeah, obviously, like, that's when you need to get the police to crack down on them. But you crack down on the criminal institution, not, like, the group itself. You get what I mean?
Cut the head off the snake.
That's it. Well, to do that, you also need to give them jobs and, like, let them be productive members of society.
Offer them an alternative, you mean?
Offer them an alternative, and also don't put them on welfare forever.
So take this, or I'll take you down.
Okay, so this is the Vice President of Sordland, everyone. Andrew Vecturn.
What?
Andrew Peter Vecturn. Okay, 2 weeks have passed, and now I was about to be sworn in as the 4th President of Sordland. Thousands were watching the inauguration ceremony and cheering my name, David Anton Rain. The die was cast. In the distance, the maroon palace stood on top of the famous Hill of Pride. I had no way of knowing what future awaited me there. I looked at my family. My son and daughter, Frank and Dina, were next to me. Monica, my wife, her eyes were glimmering with pride. Then I turned towards the keen people who made it all possible. Of course, each individual was promised an important position in my cabinet. As my thoughts slowly faded away, the reality of the situation dawned on me. Also, Hawker, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, was waiting for me. Okay, so Dave, you can take the lines from here on, and I'll take Orso's.
Yeah, sorry, I lost my mic before. I don't know what happened, but I'm back now.
No worries. The time for the oath has come, Mr. President.
It has indeed.
Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear that I will respectively execute the office of the President of Sordland.
And to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend.
And to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the people and the Constitution of the Republic of Sordland.
You may now deliver your inauguration speech, Mr. President.
Well, I'd like to thank God and my agent. Also, I see you in the audience over there, makeup guy. Absolute legend in the makeup department, right there.
Yeah, I have to say that I just need to shout out to President Trump's makeup people who turned him from the orange Smurf into something that, at the very least, could at least look like a president and pass for one at times. There goes half the audience. We love you.
Just say religious lines to it will get you credibility with
Actually,
people.
I have to admit embarrassment. The evil liberal media actually framed Trump on the charge of holding the Bible upside down. The tinfoil hatties were actually right for once. Even though I think that evicting the parish priest so that Trump could make the speech was the wrong thing to do. He kicked the priests out of the church. That's
not the best idea.
But the liberal media lies.
By the way, I watched the campaign to get ready for this, so Brady has taught me a thing or two.
Are you gonna punch some babies? Please don't punch a baby.
No punching babies.
What if it's Hitler? What if it's baby Hitler?
Yeah, then you gotta take him down.
So
This is the thing. If you go back and kill baby Hitler or punch baby Hitler, like in your mind you're doing a good thing, but to the people at the time, you're just a dude punching a baby. Like you're gonna get locked
it's
up.
a mother.
Like you were gonna get locked in an institution.
Yeah, she'd be rather upset.
Well, just anyone would be upset because you'd know you're punching baby Hitler. But
maybe you do go back.
That's the thing. Like,
what if that's what set him off? It's when Andy went back in time and fucking punched him.
But then Andy would have been committed to an asylum because they would just see a baby puncher.
No, but then he went back forward in time.
I would say that the devil was in it, and I got the devil out by hitting it, and they'd believe it back then.
The devil was in it. I like in it.
I think we should have given Hitler maybe like an art scholarship. You know, we should have allowed him to pursue his dreams so he didn't have to feel like he needed to take over the world to be respected.
That was his dream.
That's the
to be an artist. Yeah, he wanted to be a painter. Yeah, but then he had to be a dictator instead.
Titanic, Adventure Out of Time, the good ending is you liberate the Adolf Hitler painting, which was used as some sort of bargaining chip, and you liberate that, and then it gets sold, and he makes a lot of money, and then he just becomes an artist, and that's the good ending.
Yeah, and it prevents World War II. That's great.
Yeah, so if the painting goes down with the ship, or
I'll
if the
have to
painting
link
gets
that.
taken,
I'm gonna edit that in. I'm gonna edit the Hitler becomes an artist and lives a peaceful life ending
get
in.
the cutscene. Get the cutscene and whack it right here.
But the canvas? As the only artifact saved from the Titanic, the painting became famous. Along with its creator, a rather excitable Austrian named Adolf Hitler, who makes a lucrative career to this day. Peddling overpriced alpine vistas to the carriage trade.
But anyway, it's an honor. Brothers and sisters,
Crowd looked eager.
change and hope. You, the people, have chosen together. We will. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give the president. Will Shatner voice. You, the people, have chosen together. We will bring prosperity and reform our nation. It is a time of hope and a time of change.
By the way, if you want to say your own line, like, by all means, for the speeches, like, that would be great.
Okay, now that I know that.
Like,
okay.
Take the general gist of it, and then...
Alright, we'll go with if we stand together. In the past, there have been times of survival, times of conflict, and times of economic hardship too. But whenever we stood together, we prevailed.
You never know when you just have to shoot to kill, right?
That's right. Well,
We'll come in peace.
If you're wearing a red shirt, you should probably shoot to kill all the time.
That's a good point. Got to get them before they get you.
The future awaits us. The future awaits us. Sordland will reach the stars.
Kill the Shatner voice, I can't take it.
Let's go with change now.
Maybe a Sean Connery voice would be better.
Hundreds and thousands cheered. We're shouting our name in unison. I felt the responsibility, but I can't do a good Sean Connery.
That was alright, I knew, at least I knew who you were doing. The power and the burden all at the same time.
I'll tell you, we just lost the second half of the audience. Let's enjoy the moment. Taking a deep breath in, I enjoyed the moment. Took a long look at the people of Sordland to burn this moment into my memory.
There's going to be a lot of talking, Dave. I think you should.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I can keep it up. I can keep the Will Shatner voice up, though.
I'll read. One of the presidential guards came to notify that it was time to leave. I made my way to the leading car in the motorcade.
All right,
Presidential
I guess he doesn't like the Shatner voice.
The presidential jetback Cadilla with flags of Sordland above the front headlights. Next to it, a man was holding the door. Hello, Mr. President. Still under the effect of the speech I made, hearing my new title made me smile. If you'll allow me to introduce myself, I'm Serge, your new driver.
Nice to meet you, Serge. This is the new president voice, mate.
It's an honor. He respectfully bowed his head before opening the car door and gesturing inside. I entered the car. We'll be heading towards the palace, sir. The motorcade began to move. On the way, Serge proceeded to explain his duties as a driver. As the minutes passed by, I found myself lost in thoughts again, barely paying attention to what he was saying. He suddenly made a gesture towards the now closer palace. Isn't it a beauty? The Maroon Palace.
Yeah, he's right. Sunlight glinted off the palace's many maroon-coloured domes, so bright I had to look away. But then my suit was also maroon, and when I looked away, it reflected There's no my eyes, my eyes.
Every time I look at it, I'm reminded of my duty to the nation.
So do I, Serge. It's the beating heart of the nation after all.
Well said, Mr. President. The
You got a
car
dart,
drove.
Serge?
The car drove past the majestic gates, continued uphill to the entrance, and stopped in front of the doors. Serge got out of the car and opened the door for me. Have a great day, Mr. President. Amorgna Vezkor. He referred to the famous Sordish phrase from the times of revolution. Amorgna Vezkor Vectin Sistar, which meant a morning will come, the victory is close.
Shit, yeah, Serge. Fucking oath, mate. Translates to see you soon.
I made my way upstairs through the extravagant corridors of the palace. Marble and engraved wooden finishes decorated the interior. My footsteps echoed in the colossal halls. The guards bowed their heads in respect as I opened the massive doors to my new office. Well, Mr.
Right,
President,
here we are.
this is Sordland. This is our capital, Holsword. Lauren, our industrial centre. Bruni, our touristy area, kind of has a Mediterranean climate.
Yeah, look at that bay. Nice.
Gaia City and Bergia, where you were born, sir. Nagas, one of our largest provinces and also poorest.
Now is when the music works, when he's given us the tour.
And Agland.
Yeah.
But it gels well.
It really does. I love that fucking little strum.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Got the chorus effect on it. It's fucking gorgeous.
Okay, don't cream your pants, boys.
Go
on. This is Angland. This is inhabited by a lot of Agnolian residents.
Oh,
yeah.
The Queen of fucking England.
No, you're the king. The queen.
Is
we
that
will
a
get
wall? Is that a road or a wall?
It's a road. If we go, sorry, one moment. Yeah, here we go.
That's the border.
So these are national roads, highways, railways, electric railways. We got international boundaries, cities, rivers, roads.
Okay, so I just picked up on what's happening when you move that. So this is an actual map on a table. That is awesome.
That's correct.
That's
yeah, I'm afraid we can't
That's
quite.
a nice touch.
But if you go over here, you can see we've got our desk ornament, and look, it's even dynamically lit.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. I like. Yeah, they put a lot of love into this game. You can tell.
I don't think you can use the radio. This is what we need. This is what takes this game away from an 11 out of 10. You cannot use the radio.
Unfortunate, but.
And here is some of our glorious language. But
we'll just sign off on that. We'll just sign off on that letter.
Oh, the Constitution. Wow.
A little banker's lamp. Yeah, this is nice. I like what they've done with this.
Okay, and we will get to the surrounding countries. This is Agnolia.
Oh, I like their little crest with the ship. That's cool.
Yeah. Freedom or peril is their motto. Agnolia is a merchant nation located in northeastern Mercopa along the Marchian Sea. It is famous for the masterfully crafted ships that sail the many seas. Agnolians themselves...
I want to make them... Sorry, go on.
Agnolians...
I want to make them our friends and they can build our navy.
Trade
Agnolians themselves are known to be very introverted. The country has long been under the shadow of Sordland while suffering territorial pressure from Romberg, leading to the rise of a powerful democratic movement focused on change. Their leader is President Van Horten.
Oh, sorry.
Our relations are good. They have a large navy but an overall weak military. A population of 11 million.
All right, I want to make friends with them, and I want to help them out with that little border dispute they got going on. to sweeten the pot for them because they've been living under our shadow. But like, I want to make them an offer where they think they're getting something out of it.
Okay. Down here, they do indeed have a border dispute with Vagsland over this island of Helgiport. And that could be a major epicenter of conflict later on. We'll have to think about how we're going to resolve that, Mr. President.
Yeah.
And we have a message from the Prime Minister of Agnolia, Mr. Van Horten. He congratulates you on your electoral success.
Millhouse's father.
Here we have their rivals. The Democratic People's Republic of Valgsland. Their motto, through broken shackles. Valgsland is an influential country located off the east coast of the Marchian Sea. It is an island nation and a major naval power to be reckoned with. Valgslandians and their language, Valgian, have spread around the globe because of their colonial past. After the forming of the Democratic Republic of Valgsland in 1920, all traces of the empire have been removed. Valgsland is a member state of the Contanan Security Pact, a major communist faction in the world. They have a strong military, a population of 63 million, and our relations with them are neutral. They are a socialist republic. To the south, we have Lesbia.
You gotta butter them up too. For times of war.
Fortune, strength, and liberty. Lesbia is a wealthy country located at southern Makopa along the West Sea. Its capital, Perla, is world-renowned and welcomes millions of curious tourists every year. Even though culturally more socially and politically liberal, the recent government of Lesbia has begun to turn away from openness. It promotes isolationism and protectionism. Lesbia is a member of the Arcassian Treaty Organization.
Australian Tax Office? It's a member of the Australian Tax Office. We don't want them near us.
What is Australia? I've never heard of this country.
I heard it it was a dream. Never mind, continue.
Has a population of 80 million, a strong military, mostly land forces, and our relations with them are neutral. And also, the ATO is the NATO faction, so kind of backed by not America. Over here in the southwest, we have the nation of Wayland, which has recently recovered from the civil war you yourself served in, sir, as a border guard. People, justice, and unity. Wayland is a fragile country in the mountainous areas of western Makopa. It is widely known to be the origin of the Nuriti religion and contains many important shrines. The Wezak people are extraordinarily hospitable despite their lower living standards. Civil rights and political freedoms are somewhat limited due to strict government policies focused on a stability agenda. They have a population of 17 million, their military is weak, and relations are neutral. Well, sir, you mentioned the Queen, and I'm afraid she may be a real problem for us, sir. To the north, we have the Empire of Romberg. Fear God and honour the Queen. Romberg is a vast kingdom located in the cold north of Makopa. The territorial issues surrounding the country give it a bad reputation, and it has recently fought a major war against the Agnolians, claiming roughly half their territory. As a people, the Rombergians are loyal, proud, and stubborn. For centuries they have clashed with the southern kingdoms due to their disadvantageous geographic position. The kingdom has grand global ambitions, seeing itself as the third great power of the world. but they lack key resources to fulfill these dreams.
So they can be bought.
I hope so, sir. They have a population of 121 million, but their military strength is overwhelming and our relationships are extremely poor. They are a conservative monarchy led by the Queen Beatrice Livingston from her capital in Thorenberg.
Okay.
Trust we're ready to get to the first order of business, sir.
Let's do it.
Message from the General Staff. General Kruger has highlighted issues in facing our nation, including Romberg, and has made a request that you strengthen our military forces from Camp Strongarm. We also report significant logistical issues and bottlenecks in our major industrial areas. There are requests to improve transportation in the central region. Well, sir, we have a briefing on the current political situation or the economic situation. Which is it?
Let's go with the political situation.
Yes, sir. Peter Vecton arrived a couple of minutes early and sat across from me. He was struggling to hold back his smile. We did it, Dave. We finally won. All those years with our noses to the grindstone have paid off. Peter's eyes sparkled. The strain of the past months had put a damper on his usual rakish charm. But today he was looking and acting more like his old self. He loosened his tie and undid his top 2 buttons. Enjoying the new secretary I picked out for you? Thought you'd appreciate her gorgeous set of talents. It's a shame
She's got a great big pair of double degrees.
It's a shame the rest of your staff aren't as easy on the eyes. He gestured to the slight paunch that protruded over his waistband. But hey, back in university, did you ever imagine we would be sitting here in the Maroon Palace? We have to celebrate this great victory.
We'll celebrate at the ball. Just hang in there until the evening, mate.
All work and no play, Mr. President.
Nah.
I think it's Frank's birthday. We've barely had enough time for our families over the last months, haven't we? You did get him a gift, didn't you, sir?
Yeah, got him a fucking one of those bloody fucking things, you know, the fucking the Nintendo Bob fucking things.
Remarkable. Is that some kind of new Arcasian invention?
Yeah, mate.
Peter had a wistful look in his eyes. He and Evelyn had never been able to have kids of their own. During our campaign, the opposition had floated the rumour that he'd fathered illegitimate children during his wilder years, but it had never been substantiated. The door swung open and Lucien Gallade, my chief strategist, walked in. He was a compact man with sharp bird-like features. After briefly surveying the room from wall to wall, he sat down, poured a glass of water and opened his briefcase in a series of quick, graceful movements. Gentlemen! The tall case clock in the room struck 3 o'clock. Damn, you're exactly on time. Hello, Peter. Lucien then turned towards me. Okay, you can read this, by the way.
Glad to see you, mate.
It's a privilege to be here, sir. Lucien spoke in soft, clipped tones that immediately drew your attention towards what he had to say. Peter and I waited for him to proceed. Let's start by evaluating our current situation. The majority of the Sordish people demanded change. They are more concerned about the economy than the constitution, but they blame the system for their problems. People are losing faith in their trust in our democracy. Why do you think radicals like Bernard Circus are becoming more popular? Everyone's expecting us to bring the change that the last government did not.
And fucking oath we will.
Franz Richter, the leader of the reformists, believes that true change can only be accomplished by transferring some of our powers to the Assembly. I will move into details of their demands shortly. That's exactly what we campaigned for, a true change that will move the country forward. We will need many allies against the old guard in the government, if that is the case, sir. Mr. Richter managed to persuade many members of the Assembly to give their support for drafting a new constitution. Reformist politicians are quickly increasing in number. While the reformist wing inside our own party is still a minority, they could have a tripartisan majority in the Assembly, especially if they unite under Richter.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking here, 1, but that leads into 2. So I'm thinking maybe let's it could be a potential ally.
A coalition government, sir. That would be a first. Perhaps it's what the people want. He is definitely key in this. The reformist demands are clear. They want to limit the president's veto powers, ensure the Supreme Court is independent, and take away the court's right to vote on constitutional amendments.
We've got to listen to their demands, otherwise we're no different than the previous administrations.
No dictator then, sir.
The scum. Otherwise known as the scum.
Are we going to drain the swamp? Are we going to bring our brooms because it's a mess?
We need to bring our broom.
Brooms, squidgies, the whole shebang.
And punch some babies.
Yep.
And a dog,
that's the
perhaps.
vice. And
No, you
and
don't
dog.
punch dogs, kick them. Okay, there goes the remaining members of the audience. All of the people, the Peter people and the animals. Do not kick dogs, people.
There goes your Arabic audience. Anyway.
Oh no, you didn't go there. And here we are. And this is when the David Rain presidency went into the gutter.
Yeah, it's over.
I agree, we can't ignore the winds of change after all. The old guard will do its best to preserve the Constitution. Chief Justice Hawker and his allied judges have great influence over the Supreme Court, and they also have a vote to veto constitutional change if they get a majority within the court. They could be tough nuts to crack.
Well, let's balance the power structure more fairly, eh? Comprehensive bill.
I agree. The old guard won't like this, though. A comprehensive reform that would make the reformists happy would mean maintaining a balance between all branches of government.
Exactly.
Which means removing your absolute veto as well. The reformists could demand that all loopholes in the Constitution are closed.
Looks like we've got many challenges ahead, boys.
We can figure it out. Our party still holds 130 out of the 250 seats in the Assembly. We've got the power. However, to reform the Constitution, we must receive a 2/3 majority, Mr. Vecton, which is 166 votes, and a simple majority in the Supreme Court. After we have settled on how to proceed, we will need to talk with our party figures. Our first goal must be to get the 150 signatures needed to start the process. Following the green light from the USP, we will reach out to the other party leaders to see if they would back our draft. The last step is to convince the justices of the Supreme Court. This entire process will take a long time, but we must start working with the Reform Committee to evaluate all possibilities for a new constitution as soon as possible.
Let's go with a more democratic constitution.
That's what we've been preparing for internally. Don't forget that's the promise that got us elected. The key thing here will be strengthening the power of the Assembly, which will already lead us to a majority. Yes, the divisions of power need to be balanced for a better country. According to the initial draft we have made with the reformists, there are 2 changes to the Constitution that are not open for their discussion. First, the Supreme Court will no longer vote on constitutional amendments. Second, the President's absolute veto will be taken away. This can then be replaced with a limited veto system by fixing the current loopholes.
I've got no problems. No dramas, Matt.
Another important point. You must be aware of the Lothenberg Group. According to reports, some members of the National Business Council are in their pockets. Tusk and the group will surely try to bribe us in exchange for special economic protections.
Alright. I don't want to work with them straight away. I'm not going to say we won't be bought, because we're going to have to do it. Let's go with, we'll enter a dialogue with them eventually, but we're going to go diplomatic. We have to go diplomatic on that. Because they'll probably be pretty important when it comes to our economic concerns.
I see. I think that's wise, sir. It's good to understand if we can reach a middle ground. As far as I know, Marcel Caronti also has some strong ties to the group. He's the son of the former leader. His influence could definitely be an asset to us, though I'm sure he'll want something in return. He heads the largest media conglomerate in the country.
Yeah, that could come in handy.
We just need to be careful with him. He looks like the lesser evil, but it could very quickly turn out to be the other way around. We need to tread carefully on all sides with all the power players to survive our term. I need to underline the seriousness of this situation, Mr. President. They may be vying for a power struggle within the Lothberg group. The military and the general staff are also a powerful element in the state, and, as happened to President Whiskey, a dangerous one as well. We do have some room to make structural changes by reducing their budget, for example, but it is quite limited. Their loyalties lie to the former President Tarquin Sol.
Yeah, with the Romberg threat, we can't reduce their defense capacity. No way.
I would advise the same. The budget should be maintained and we should refrain from confronting the military too directly. Defense Minister Josef Lancera is more loyal to us compared to his counterpart, General Kruger, a fact that can obviously change with our actions. Either way, I see a potential rift between the two since they clearly have different minds. I believe you know General Lancera from your time on the Gumrin outpost.
Yeah, that's right. We knocked around a bit.
If we act strongly against the military, both of these guys will unite against us. I agree with Lucien, we have to tread carefully here. Well, gentlemen, precisely 30 minutes. This concludes our political briefing for today. Our next meeting will be about media strategy. Talk to you soon, I'll keep in touch. See you both at the next meeting.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the aftermath of that. So,
you don't really think the army would leave Camp Strongarm, do you?
If the General Kruger was pissed off enough, I'm sure he would. But we got to play Lancea off against him. I want Kruger gone. Is what I want. I want to replace Kruger with somebody else.
He's an old warhorse, sir.
You know what you do? You know what you do to a horse that's too old?
Put him out to pasture?
Mm-hmm. Send him on a nice long retirement.
I trust the more violent measures are off the table.
I might have to dip soon, but I can come back if you guys are going to be up late.
Yeah, no worries. All right, we'll have the replacement president come in. Andrew, bring in the body double.